Hello everyone, this is Dr. Neeta and I welcome you all to our day 9 session of time management workshop. In today's topic, mainly we are going to discuss about art of delegation. Of course, there are few things which are repetitive in all the time management presentation. That's of course include some kind of to-do list, prioritizing activities, scheduling, planning, all those kind of things of course are there. But mainly we are going to focus on delegation, how nicely one can actually delegate and become more proficient, more efficient, and save time and actually increase the effect or result whatever you are getting out of your work by double. That is, if you delegate 10%, actually you could get 20% better result. So that's how, with the help of nice delegation, you can improve your productivity. So let's discuss about delegation. So first is scheduling. Negotiate and manage realistic deadlines. Use available scheduling tools to best effect. Structure in adequate time for all stages of the work, then review and revise often. Check in with colleagues and clients. You are in charge, not the schedule. So, of course, whatever type of scheduling you want to do, you need to manage your schedule properly. You need to revise it, you need to analyze it, you need to review it, and you need to check with your clients and your colleagues before scheduling and fixing, because many of the time it may happen that whatever scheduling we have done, but mostly some urgent and important tasks come in between, and because of that all the scheduling get fails. So whenever you are doing scheduling at that moment of time, be aware of your regular schedule with your colleagues and your clients, and then actually finalize anything. So that comes on the first, scheduling. Now scheduling grid instructions we'll see. First is block out time on the schedule for each of your major activities. Then start with recurring activities that occur at a fixed time, for example, classes or work. Then block out time for activities that you want to do on a regular basis, for example, exercising or studying. Allot ample time for each activity, especially high priority activities. Take into account when you are most effective. Morning people might schedule more activities early in the day. Night owls might schedule things later. So this is how you can prepare your scheduling grid with the help of these instructions. Even the examples are provided what kind of activities needs to be scheduled when. So this is how actually you should go to prioritize your scheduling things. A weekly schedule. Now that you have identified your activities and prioritized them, it is time to create a schedule. It is helpful to keep one schedule in an appointment book or electronic organizer, but for purposes of planning, you can use a scheduling grid. So weekly schedule, you can prepare this chart like a timetable kind of thing, and you can prepare your weekly schedule on the daily basis, time wise, whatever activities are major important and fixed kind of thing. You can actually add it first and then keep on adding your regular things on whatever appointments and schedule you are giving to your client. You can plan 1 week ahead whenever you are giving all the kind of schedule appointments. If you are planning to visit somewhere as a guest or some kind of session delivery or any kind of thing, so that all kind of activities you can plan at least a week ahead. So this is how you can plan your things in this format. Now this is activity log. Now date wise you can have this activity log. Firstly we have scheduled the whole week, then we come to day wise activity. So here there is time slot given, then the task perform is given, and then A, B, C, D. We have already discussed about prioritizing task. The most important comes on A and the least important comes to D, E, F, G, like wise. So at least you can prioritize on A, B, C, D. So you can give otherwise 1, 2, 3, 4, and likewise you can actually prioritize thing. So for example 7:30 to 8 you are giving exercise. So health is your first prime important thing. So of course if you don't want to miss it at any cost, at that moment of time you should give it a 8 to 8:30. Again, if it's a time for your walk, then you can do it a. Otherwise if it's a regular time wherein you are doing your regular activities of getting ready and all that kind of thing, so of course there is no chance, we have to go for that. So likewise those activities which are very very urgent and important, for which there is no other option, you can prioritize them as a. Then less important B, again somewhat less important C, and those tasks which even though if will not do, it doesn't matter, that goes in the fourth quadrant, that is neither urgent nor important, that is D. So that's how you can prepare your activity log date wise and day wise. Then come to the to-do list. The weekly schedule is used to assign blocks of time to different types of activities, but you also need to keep track of the specific task that must be accomplished within each activity. Keeping a to-do list is a good way to accomplish this. So, while preparing to-do list, make a written list of specific tasks or assignments that you need to do. Plan ahead, taking into account the entire week or work, because that is a spelling mistake, sorry for that. Then allot time for these tasks in your schedule. Keep in mind their due dates. Assign priority ratings, that is A, B or C, and revise as needed. So we have discussed first, then second. Then third is refer to the list often. So of course, once you have finalized the task, then you have prioritized the task. Now you have to actually refer it, to analyze it, to finalize it. So check off items when completed. Now, to-do list, hang up as a flyer, finish reading to see, laundry, complete program evaluation, send in weekly report. So all these kind of things, once you have done, you just keep on ticking those tasks which you have already completed, and those which are uncompleted tasks, incompleted tasks, for that actually you should put either blank or not completed as a wrong sign, and then keep on completing your to-do list. So this is how you can actually finish the to-do list once the task done. Creating to-do list, your daily list of tasks that take you toward your goal. One sheet per day. Task with defined importance. So there are few questions. First is important and urgent, that is deadline or firefighting things. Second is important and not urgent, that is planning, holidays, all those things comes in this second quadrant. Then third quadrant, urgent and not important, that is interruptions, meeting and all those kind of thing. Fourth quadrant, not important and not urgent, that is junk mail, time waster, browsing, then social media and all that kind of thing that comes in the fourth quadrant. So this is how in this fourth quadrant you put your activities, and that's how you finalize your to-do list. Working with to-do list. Create your list before you start the day. 15 minutes of investment will help you every day. End of the day, review status. Status C, completed. T, transferred. A, abandoned. I, in process, and that's how actually you can give the status. If it's completed, it's C. If it is not completed, you have just transfer it or postpone it, then it's T. And if it is abandoned, of course you have to again repeatedly do it again and again. So that is A. And in process task you can actually go for I. So this is how you can give the different kind of status. At the end of day, you'll get a feeling of accomplishment, and that's how your to-do list work. Once at the end of day, you'll find, oh, these many things you have done. So you'll feel that fulfillment. Oh, these many things I have achieved today, and now this one day actually I make this day, and that's how I have accomplished so many things. My targets are now on the way of finishing, completing, and that's how actually you accomplish everything. So this is how you have to start your day with preparing your to-do list, and at the end of day you complete it and just review it for the accomplishment of all the activities. So take charge of your life. You can do with it what you wish. The benefits of a diary. It gives us better control of our own life. It helps us to set priorities and stick to them. It helps us to achieve our goals in life. It helps us to use our time in a productive way. It encourages thought and creativity. It helps reduce tension and stress. So these are the benefits of diary. What should a diary contain? Lifetime goals, both personal and professional. Priority areas or KRA, that is key responsible or key reality or responsible areas. So you can make it priority wise areas, whatever KRA you have defined for yourself, finalize it once, and then you can define for both it for your professional, your personal, your goal, your health, your family, your happiness, your spiritual goals. So for all that areas which are very very important areas, which are important roles for you, so that's how you can decide your KRA. The various objective and activities under each KRA. Backup support, information on key role areas, that is statistics, resource people, etc. Detailed calendar section which helps to connect goals with what we are actually doing and plan to do. Section on ideas, addresses, telephone numbers, graphs, budgets, plan, checklist, financial details, personal data, etc. So all this section wise you can identify each and every key area, and that's how you can work on maintaining diary about each and every key area. Organize yourself. Keep an updated to-do list in priority order. Deal with paperwork or email once, or treat it as a scheduled event. Staged filing. Practice the deep filling method. In organize yourself, again use technology wisely. Manage professional reading. Organize your workspace, match your own mental models. Use project management techniques and time shifting techniques also. Now discuss second another point, that is managing meetings. So assess the objective of meetings first, then assess the frequency of meetings, then share the agenda and circulate it well before, facilitate well, select only right participants, give starting time and ending time, be on time, conducive environment, send reminders to invitees, and lastly, prepare thoroughly. So this is how you can manage meetings. Otherwise, meeting will just be a waste of time, and it will not give you any kind of efficient and productive result. So for getting productive result out of meetings, manage your meeting like this, in this order. Again, professional chairmanship, action on every item, distribute minutes, keep minutes brief, a record of the agenda, then decisions, then designated and follow-ups. hold routine meetings at the end of day, limit interruptions, maximize email collaboration, document sharing. How to create more time? By effective delegation, make sure you define objectives and objections clearly when you delegate a task. Reserve some time for tasks that you can do. Keep a checklist of tasks to help you monitor the progress of tasks that you have delegated. Set precise and realistic deadlines of tasks that you have delegated. So now we are going to discuss about delegation. So here everyone knows this is the scene from Sholay, how Thakur has delegated his responsibility to these two heroes, and we all know the story how it goes and how actually nicely he delegated the task, and how nicely he given the responsibility even with the constraint that he want Thakur alive. He actually want to kill him by himself. He just want these guys to caught him, not kill him. So everything, the agenda was very clear, and everything step by step, how he delegate, and how nicely, even though they were criminals, but still how nicely actually he shown his trust and faith on them, and he identifies their strengths, their weaknesses, and that's how actually he just delegate responsibility. So this is what is the good example of delegation. Now we'll move on to the crux of today's session, that is art of delegation. So how to get others to do your work so you can get on to what you are really supposed to be doing. So delegation, the distribution of responsibility and authority to others while holding them accountable for their performance. That is what is definition of delegation. Delegation, a way to accomplish job task which each person taking a part of the work and responsibility which best uses and extends the skills. Don't delegate if you can eliminate. Delegate appropriately, gradually and strategically. Give support and credit. Time invested now has a future payoff. Do not micromanage. Don't do babysitting. Assigning responsibility with clear communication. Granting authority. Assigning responsibility with clear communication. Creating accountability for results. Creating feedback system. So these are the steps in which we can actually make our job of delegation more efficient and effective. Benefits of delegating. We can free ourselves for tasks which require more of our attention. We achieve maximum use of our skills by having enough time to spend on important issues. Subordinates obtain experience and training through getting additional responsibilities. A culture of confidence and responsibility gets developed in the organization whereby subordinates feel more confident of themselves. It does not put undue responsibility on one person, and the capabilities of the entire organization increases. So these are the benefits wherein once the leader actually start delegating tasks, other people also get the opportunity to learn those new skills, and even they feel responsible because they are getting good opportunity to prove themselves, and that's how the whole organization get benefited, because everyone get different kind of tasks to handle, and of course it is a part of their learning and training kind of thing. So it polishes their skills, and that's how actually it helps other in a better way, and it's actually helpful for betterment of the organization also. So these are few of the benefits of delegation. Increases problem solving capability of organization. It helps to test the capabilities and capacity of the subordinates. New ideas get generated. It improves our own skills of in interacting with others and our effectiveness in the leadership role. When delegation occur at work, everyone benefits. The organization, because individual talents are harnessed to the full. The department or team, because it becomes more enthusiastic, active, and successful. Individuals, because they are stretched beyond what they previously thought they could achieve. So these are three major entities which help with the help of delegation. One is organization, another is the department or team to whom that task was delegated, and of course individual in that team. Everyone is get benefited out of delegation. People establish strong interpersonal relationship, believe in the best of others, treat others with respect, act consistently with loyalty, honesty, and integrity, communicate clearly, seek ideas from, and listen carefully to others. So, whenever you are delegating tasks, you being a leader, you should keep in mind all those things. You actually build that rapport between your team members and understand them. Of course it's going to improve all the interperson intrapersonal relationship also, and your role of leader will also actually going to enhance because you'll understand your team very nicely and closely, and that are also the benefits of delegation. Why managers do not delegate? Insecurity about job, subordinates could make mistakes, lack of proper communication, weak feedback and control system, feeling of being indispensable, unclear about own authority, some tasks which can easily be delegated, making various reports, fact gathering, planning a project, supervising a project, delegating at some routine meetings, liaison with other departments, routine telephone calls and letters, screening and preliminary interviews or meetings, and departmental routine work. So these are few of the activities which one can easily delegate to any of the staff member. And there is no harm delegating these are all tasks to others. Critical steps of delegation. Make a list of tasks that need to be done. Identify tasks to be delegated. Choose the correct person who can do the task efficiently. Explain the purpose clearly, specifically using clear communication. Specify the result expected and deadline for completion. Provide basic inputs and ensure inflow of relevant information. So that's how you can follow this critical step while actually working on delegation. Again, going through few more steps, make sure that subordinates understand what you expect him or her to do. Have a written memo which specifies what you have spoken about. Assign resources and authority to the subordinates. Come to an agreement about time schedule. Make a notation in your diary about tasks you have delegated and to whom. Weekly checkup. Delegation involves giving workers at every level of the organization the power, the freedom, and the responsibility to control their own work, to make decisions, and to take actions to meet the company's objective. Requires a different style of management from that of the traditional manager. Is built on sharing information, authority, and power. So, why to delegate? To use skills and resources already within the group, to keep from burning out a few leaders, to develop new leaders and build new skills within the group, to get things done, to prevent the group from getting too dependent on one or two leaders, to become more powerful as a group, to allow everyone to feel a part of the effort and the success, and group members feel more committed if they have a role and feel needed. So these are the reasons we must delegate, and of course it's beneficial for each and everyone. And why not to delegate? It's too hard. It takes too much time. Nobody can do it as good as I can. Nobody else has any time either. And that are my own perception, and because of all this perception, I actually never want to delegate. So that's how we should change our mindset, and we should come in the we kind of mindset wherein our task we are whatever task we are doing, it's for organization, for achieving the goals, vision and vision of our organization. Is a responsibility for whole team, not only the leader. So of course leader needs to trust the capacity and capability of their subordinates, and that's how actually leaders should give opportunity to all their subordinates to actually assign few of the responsibilities and tasks which other can perform. So that's how actually this is what is the reason why one cannot delegate. Delegation works best when manager is confident enough to give workers all of the authority and responsibility they can handle, plays the role of coach and facilitator, not the role of meddlesome boss. Recognize that delegated employees will make mistakes. Hire people who can blossom in an delegated environment. Trains workers to continuously upgrade their skills. Trust workers to do their jobs. Listen to workers when they have ideas, solutions, or suggestions. Share information with workers, perhaps using open book management. Recognizes workers' contribution. Action from management that delegates employees. So specific actions to delegates start with increase signature authority at all level, reduce number of rules, assign non-routine jobs, allow independent judgment, define job more broadly as projects, provide more freedom of access to resources, provide more freedom of access to people, and reduce the number of approval steps. And that's how actually we can delegate our task to employee action for specific task. Good reasons to delegate: to build individual confidence and increase motivation, to share the power and responsibility, to provide growth experiences and model the value of skill development, to create a sense of importance and belonging to the employee, to encourage independence, initiative, and creative problem solving. Processes for delegation: identify the skills of the individual, clearly define the project to be completed, obtain feedback from individual to confirm accurate assessment of skills. Before you delegate, ask yourself, is the individual capable of doing the job? Will he or she be committed to it and take it seriously? How important is this task to the total operation success? Is the time limit Now we'll see the steps for successful delegation. Clearly describe the result you want. Explain how the result fit into the team's or organization's big picture. Identify guidelines and deadlines for accomplishing the task or results. Together establish the boundaries and limitations of the work. State and agree upon the benchmark, checkpoints, and deadlines that will ensure successful accomplishment. Define accountabilities and standards to measure accomplishment. Be sure to give the individual the authority to complete the task. Secure commitment from the individual. Ask directly for it. Specify chain of command for problem solving. List resources needed for successful completion of results. Who are the people who will be helping? What supplies or tools are needed? What outside people need to be notified that this individual will be taking on this job? Identify any financial or budget impact. Determine consequences of achieving or not achieving the results. Be specific in detailing what success or failure will look like. What will be the impact of success in this task for the team, organization, and individual? What will be the impact of failure in this task for the team, organization, and individual? Checklist, delegation preparation worksheet. Describe a task you want to delegate. List the skills and abilities of the individual to whom you may delegate. Draft the desired result you want. Identify any known guidelines or deadlines. List resources you believe the individual may need. List the consequences of not achieving this task. List the consequences of achieving. Now, what are the different stressors of delegation? Loss of control. If you train your subordinates to apply the same criteria as you would yourself, then they will be exercising your control on your behalf. Too much time spent on explaining tasks. The amount of time spent up front is in fact great, but continued use of delegation may free you up to complete more complex tasks and or gain you some time for yourself. Compromising your own value. Be successfully utilizing appropriate delegation. Your value to the group or organization will grow at a greater rate as you will have more time to do more things. Consequences of poor delegating. Information and decision making not shared by the group. Leaders become tired out. When leaders leave groups, no one has experience to carry on. Group morale become low and people become frustrated and feel powerless. The skills and knowledge of the group or organization are concentrated in a few people. New members don't find any way to contribute to work of the group. And finally, the secret of success is not doing your own work but in recognize the right person to do it. That's what is the moral of story. So this much for this presentation. Thank you very much.